Moving on next here, we have Blake from Digioh and Harry from AS Beauty. Harry, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about the brand and, say
Yeah,
hi.
absolutely. So I'm Harry Roth, AS Beauty. I'm Director of Ecommerce, CRO, and just all customer journeys. We are a portfolio beauty brand. So we have 4 different brands underneath the umbrella, and constantly trying to look to build out that portfolio and make it as big as possible.
Great. And Blake?
I'm Blake Imperl. I'm the SVP of Marketing at Digioh. I was in y'all's seat. I was a D2C marketer for years before I got into this mess of SaaS marketing. But I worked at companies like Attentive. I was an email and SMS marketer before that. A little bit about Digioh. We're a zero-party data and CRO platform, and we work with over 2,000 brands like AS Beauty. So I'm excited to be here.
Cool. I believe, Blake, you have something prepared for us here. I'm going to go ahead and hand this over. Harry,
Yeah, for sure. So 2 quick call outs I wanted to make. We're giving away a lot of free stuff today, the Digioh team. We wrote, this is the basis of this entire talk, we're about to have a playbook called the Ecommerce Marketer's Guide to Zero-Party Data with our friends at Klaviyo. It's a very tactical playbook, and there's free copies for everyone here, so please pick up a copy. It's a really great investment for you to make today. Got some friends in the back who have copies of those. You can go to the Digioh booth and get one of these. This is tons of great insights that we wrote. And then also, we have free stuff for everyone. We're giving away AS Beauty products and Cricut shirts to everyone here who takes our funnel audit. We're going to put up a QR code for that. It's just a few questions, and you get to pick a free product at the end. Or you can go to the Digioh booth. It's literally right when you walk out here, booth number 23. So please take advantage of both of those. We're just giving back to our customers a lot today.
I mean, everybody loves free stuff. So you got some. We had some T-shirts earlier. I did get a chance to download the playbook. A lot of great insights there. Some things that even when we were speaking, I didn't even know that you guys do that you work together on. So really encourage everyone to swing by, get a copy of that, or if not, there's also a digital version, right, Blake?
Yes.
Cool. And then quick show of hands here, other than trying to figure out tariffs. Who wants to get to know their customers better? A few of you? Okay, cool. It's a good starting point. I mean, you're here. That's a good starting point. Definitely want to know who here is familiar and knows what zero-party data is? A few less. Okay. Think you can help them with anything with that, Blake?
Harry, aren't you there?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, zero-party data is information that is willingly given to you from the customer, right? So I always like to say it's the most valuable source you can get because it's coming straight from the horse's mouth. And essentially, the way I look at everything we do in D2C, we're all striving towards one-to-one personalization. Zero-party data is the unlock to that, right? That's how you get to know your customer better. It's how you get to build user profiles and then leverage those across every single part of the customer journey, top of the funnel, all the way down and back again through personalization.
And so I think everybody wants to, personalization is definitely, a keyword, but like I would say even, with all the options we have available, we're still taking a one-to-many approach across the board. Can you kind of tell us through your process on setting it up, the importance of it, and where do people get started?
Yeah, so I think, a really valuable way to look at the importance of both zero-party data and personalization is just think about your own experiences, right? Whether it's online shopping, retail shopping, everywhere you go, your experience is driven by zero-party data, right? You walk into a store, what does the attendant first do? They're going to ask you questions, right? What are you looking for today? What size are you? What type of clothing do you like? What's your style? All of those are different data points they're going to use to then help serve you better. And, Blake and I were talking yesterday, it goes into every aspect of your life, right? You frequent a restaurant. Every time you go, they're going to learn more about you, right? Maybe your preferred table, your name, what kind of wine you like, right? All of these different things that then each subsequent experience becomes infinitely more personalized. And I think all of us can agree that the places you go back to are the ones that are treating you individually, right? The brands, the establishments that truly give you that personalized individual experience, those are the ones that you learn to love. And then obviously we'll go back to. So I think in terms of how you execute, the biggest thing is getting started. it can seem very daunting to kind of embark on this adventure. But ultimately, what you're trying to do is just learn more about your customer, right? That's why we started with that question, is every single person in here can do their job infinitely better if they know more about their customer. And so it starts with identifying kind of those core attributes and pieces of information that drive decision making. And when you start to capture those core attributes and you can start dividing your users into individual cohorts and segments that all have unique preferences, that then permeates every department of the business, right? Retention, onsite, acquisition, post-purchase. You now know your, what you would call your core personas, and then you continuously build those profiles over time.
And, there's plenty of options. A lot of people think of, data and forms and speaking to people are very, like singular. But, something I was really excited, Blake, was just all the different offerings you guys have and options for brands. Can you kind of walk us through some of those and just how important it is to really find the right thing for the right customer?
Absolutely. And I think something Harry said, just getting started, zero-party data has no rules. So there are a lot of mediums that we offer our customers at Digioh to be able to capture that. Most of you are probably familiar with quizzes, like guided selling quizzes. So we do that for a lot of our customers at Digioh. A lot on average across our 2,000 customers see 300% increases in conversion rates from using quizzes, asking questions about everything Harry just kind of walked through. That's one of the biggest ways. But even pop-ups, list growth. I mean, all of you probably have email, SMS marketing programs. You can ask questions there, and even just one single question of, are you shopping for men's or women's clothing today? What brought you to the site? Those types of things. So a lot of our customers use pop-ups for that. Surveys, post-purchase surveys, forms. So really think about it as the full funnel. It's not just when someone comes to the site for the first time, but I mean, you can have these experiences throughout the customer journey. So, quizzes, big conversion lifts, AOV lifts from this as well. 25% on average, we see just because of getting the right data and recommending the right products. List growth, too, talked about that, but also 10 to 15% opt-in rates is above industry average, and you're still asking questions and getting really good data. And then the beauty of all this too is that your email and your SMS marketing gets much more efficient. We see 20+% lifts and retention revenue just from using quizzes and zero-party data forms. So it really spans the whole gambit, whether you want a quiz or just one single question on a pop-up.
And then Harry, how do you utilize it? How is zero-party data really a big unlock for you? Are there any specific use cases? Where in the funnel? Walk us through that.
For sure. But before I get to that, one thing I just kind of want to touch on that Blake mentioned is getting back to the getting started aspect is there are no rules, right? And every business is different. Every business has a different customer demographic. Figure out what questions, what prompts, what phrasing works for your customer, and just start testing and start learning. And the beauty of this, right, because you might think, oh, no one's going to want to take a quiz, no one's going to want to finish a quiz. You are banking that data as they're moving through, right? So every data point you collect, whether they convert in that session or later, is going to be valuable for all of your marketing efforts, right? Because you're going to take that data, you're going to pipe it back to your ESP, and you're doing that continuous building of customer profiles, which will then allow you to better segment, better target on site, and then create a more relevant journey. And that's really the key of all of this is we all know, right? Attention spans are dwindling. People are impatient. They're looking for relevance, right? They don't want to be spammed with information that doesn't apply to them, products that they're not interested in. And the only way to avoid that essentially is to know your customer better. So yeah, I just want to hammer home that idea of not being afraid to just starting to try and exploring different things that will allow you to improve your marketing efforts and obviously your transactional KPIs over time through personalization. So yeah, where does it start, right? I think Blake mentioned this before, but it's truly a full funnel initiative. You should be collecting data at every single stage of the funnel because it's going to provide you different insights, and then you're going to be able to leverage that data across every juncture of the customer journey, right? So if we start at list growth, that pre-purchase pop-up, users who give you their email, they're already signaling intent. It is in your best interest to then ask several questions that you've determined will be instrumental in getting them to convert. and then using those to build customer profiles. So for us, it starts with like product preference, right? Are you looking for a full makeup routine? Are you focused on a specific category? And then the biggest piece, right, is what is your obstacle to purchase? Part of getting someone to convert is not just knowing what they're looking for, but it's knowing what might be preventing them from purchase. Is it fine lines? Is it wrinkles? Is it, I haven't worn makeup in a really long time and I want to get back into it? All of those are going to create different types of profiles and different segments that you're going to be better equipped to then talk to over time. So you take all of that data, right? You're using it to create Klaviyo profiles, and then starts this continuous, full funnel personalization. So where now your site team can pick up UTMs based on your segments and start personalizing the website. So if someone's interested in blush and they get directed to, say, a homepage with a foundation hero or the foundation PLP, you're already way behind the eight ball. Right? You're ignoring these zero-party data points that they've provided you to give them a personalized experience, and you're not leveraging them. And so once you're on site, you then have the ability to pick up those attributes and then move through those guided selling experiences that Blake mentioned, right? Whether it's a quiz, a survey, et cetera, all of that data is going to help you serve your customer better. And those quiz data points, again, can be used for in-session personalization, next session personalization, because you're gathering that data in real time, and then you're creating segments off of it. So you can have your audiences and segments in your ESP aligned to your on-site audiences as well, and then you're continuously building out these profiles that will just push them closer to conversion, rather. And, survey data, I think, is invaluable again. You want to constantly be learning not just about your customer and what makes them tick, but how is your experience, right? No one's website is perfect. We recently ran a survey regarding our shade finder because we know that picking the right shade is the biggest obstacle to our customer converting on the site. And what we found through this survey was, one, she wasn't finding the shade finder, right? So visibility and education became kind of top priority there. And then there were certain pieces within that flow that were missing, right? Whether it's imagery of different demographics, what they requested was like a shade comparison tool so you can see things next to each other. These are all data points that you can then, again, use to personalize your on-site experience, really to no end. There's no ceiling to it. It's just about working constantly to be collecting data at different points and then using it throughout the journey. And, then if we're going full funnel, right, you take all of that on-site data. We mentioned before, all the quiz data is going to be piped back to your ESP. And so now all of your email marketing, all of your retention targeting is going to be that much more efficient on the back end. Whether they've converted and you're then trying to get them to repeat more quickly, or they abandoned and you're going to start hitting them with specific flows, make sure those flows are personalized. Use the data to your advantage.
So a lot of what you talk about, you're talking about an online experience. It almost sounds like an in-store experience with all the different touch points.
100%.
Is that intentional, like how you're trying to replicate?
Yeah, I think, there's nuance for sure. But when you think about your experience in a store, right, like a classic brick and mortar retail, a lot of the strategies are the exact same, right? You think about if you're in CVS and you get online, all those little buckets of, things under $5, that's essentially mini cart recommendations, right? Or your cart recommendations to improve AOV. It's that upsell logic. Oh, this user already has intent. They're already checking out. Let's use that to our advantage, right? And give them, a couple things at a reasonable price point so they continue building. And that goes all the way through post-purchase, right? How did you hear about us? I think, how heard surveys after purchase are extremely valuable in then top of funnel personalization and marketing, because what you're going to learn is what I call cross-channel pollination, right? So depending on your business and the price of your product, the research phase may be longer, shorter, and how many people you have purchasing in that first session is obviously going to change. But usually what a lot of people are going to see is that your users are bouncing between channels, right? So they may have had first exposure to you by clicking a Facebook ad, but if they didn't convert in that session, they're likely coming back direct, paid search. If they signed up for email, they could be coming through your retention flow. And so understanding how different channels are working together to bring various segments to your site for conversion is essential in then optimizing that top of funnel activity. There's really no shortage of examples to not only where zero party data can help you, but to how it kind of really relates to that real life experience.
Yeah. And with that, I mean, you talked about the funnel. I mean, conversion is key. You know, you need the money in the door. Blake, is there something, you know, what about post-purchase? Is there, you know, to walk us through maybe like something around there that, you know, you're starting to see brands do well with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Harry talked a lot about you're capturing all this data. I'm from Portland, so one of my favorite brands is Columbia. If I walk into the Columbia store and I've been there like 10 times and I'm telling them I'm shopping for men's and all they're showing me is kids' clothing, that's a pretty bad experience. So I think we want to be able to take that data that we're learning and show them more of maybe I'm shopping for men's or I'm shopping for my wife or whoever it is. So post-purchase, what we do a lot with our brands at Digioh is help them to use this data to better inform, maybe they're running post-purchase retargeting with ads. So piping that data into custom audiences across their ads platforms, in their email, their SMS marketing, heck, even direct mail. If you're doing that, you can do all these things. You just want to make sure that all those points that you're learning, you're reflecting that back. If someone's telling you something, you want to reciprocate that back. So we just do a lot with helping brands to be able to think about, if I'm learning, through the Shade Finder experience, they have certain preferences. I want to make sure in my marketing I'm speaking more to those things to increase the opportunity for repeat repurchase rates, increase engagement. So it's not rocket science, but it's truly, the sky is the limit with how you use that data across all of your remarketing channels, truly.
And something I think, both of you touched on, just beyond the importance. I think if everybody in the audience thinks of their customer, think of what, and getting started. Think of one question. What is one thing you want to ask your customer? And just get started there. Like it's that easy. I think Blake, you were very generous to offer something to the audience here. Do you want to click over to that?
Yeah.
So people can.
Do I have the clicker here?
Tell them, yeah, I think you do. Oh no, I have it too.
While you're finding that.
Oh, there it's dropped.
Yeah, there you go. I just want to point out too that when you're getting all this data, it's important to have an action plan, right? So collection is only part of the game. You could collect a million different data points. If you don't know how you're going to use them, doesn't really matter, right? And so to Steve's point, it's a really easy thing to get started, whether it's one question, two questions. Doesn't need to be a 20-question quiz with branching logic, right? You'll get there. But just get started and know how you're going to take each data point and then leverage it in a specific area of your business. And also make sure that when you're creating these segments, you're segmenting based on multiple different attributes, right? So in retention, for example, we often will see, multi-buyers versus non-buyers versus lapsed buyers. That might be the user state at any period. But it's just as important to understand where they are in their buying journey, right? What is their intent level at any given time? The way the funnel works is essentially awareness, consideration, decision-making, right? Those are three very different stages of the buying funnel. So you need to understand where someone is, with their intent at that time. Sorry, we're at.
Oh, that's really important. We didn't bring these up. I'm going to speed through this super, super fast. These are just some examples. Laura Geller, what they're doing, pop-ups. This is quizzes right here. You can come by the booth and we'll show you all this, but this is just ways that brands are thinking about this, Fabletics. Going forward here, this is the QR code that I mentioned. Everyone, if you haven't scanned this, please, we're giving away free products. We're going to give you some personalized recommendations too on how you can use zero-party data. This applies to everyone, whether you sell one product or 20,000 SKUs, you can figure out a way to do it. We want to help you be able to do that, but also get some free stuff too. So please take advantage of this, grab a playbook, and dive in more. Zero-party data really does have no rules and no limits to how you think about it.
I appreciate that, guys. That was great. And yeah, everybody be sure to scan the QR code. Blake has a free audit that he's, giving away. We've got some free products, so everybody loves free things. So thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.